and welcome back to Heiner Builds Your Ride. Today I think we're gonna be here for a while because this has got everything. I think there's nothing more we can put into a Troopy. Well, probably is, but you know, before I share the details, let's roll the intro. The first really important thing I want to show you is this. I actually think that's a perfect depiction of what this is, because these Troopies are a lot like turtles, I think. They're about the same speed, they're very robust, and they can carry a lot of things. I think it's a perfect picture on one of them. Anyway, but if you have a look at this, just start with the front. Oncar bull bar from South Africa. And then we've got our Lazerlamps, Sentinel 9-inch spotlights on there. There's a massive winch in the front of that, obviously from one winch. Then we have got the Self-I-Go aerial here. On the roof in the back there, we've got the GME aerial for the two-way. And then we've also got a Lazerlamps linear 36-inch elite light bar up the top there. The idea is, you use these here for road driving, where you want to see long distance, because with the lights low, you don't get as much reflection of your street signs. And when you're off-road in low speed driving, you don't want everything too bright. You use the roof light bar. That way you can see very broad. I mean, you can use those as well when you're on the road, and they've blacked out the bonnet so you don't get as much glare, even though there isn't a lot anyway, but you know, this makes it even better. And if you're in a situation where you're driving high speed on a dirt road, usually no road signs around, then it's a great idea to use the combination of both lights, because these will give you distance, they give you really good spread as well. That gives you even better spread still. But the advantage of using both is that these lights sit lower than the line of sight of the driver. So that means if there's big potholes in the road, these will just shine over the potholes, and you'll only see the pothole last second when they start to shine into it. But if you have the light bar up there, it's actually higher than your line of sight, and you can see into the potholes and you get out of the way earlier. So that's the reason for the combination of driving lights and light bar high up. Obviously, we got a lot more going on under here. There's bonnet struts in here, so you don't have to lift this by yourself. And then we have put a 250 amp rapid power Enduro alternator down there. We've used our alternator upgrade kit that we have got pre-wired in our shop together with the fuse holder bracket and the fuse holder to go directly to the start battery positive. And then we have also got our secondary start battery in the back there. That is our Get Home Safe kit, wired directly battery negative to battery negative, and then battery positive through an SBI 12 solenoid down here directly to battery positive. And then from here we've also got the winch going, and also from here we've got a rear Anderson plug going, and the DC hub power supply we've got going from here as well. This used to have an accessory fuse box over here, the factory accessory fuse box. We've made a bracket for that, so we can relocate this accessory fuse box to this side, so we can still fit the batteries here and reuse this fuse box, because this is quite a nice fuse box to use, and Toyota supplies it for free, so we might as well use it. And then you've got another fuse box right here. This fuse box we like to use because we got an accessory, an ignition, and a battery positive circuit in here that we can use for things like a dash cam, for example, ignition for daytime running lights, and all these sort of things. I think we should move on. I'll close the bonnet gently. Let's have a look around here first. So we've got on the outside our Lazerlamps Utility 25 work lights with the amber covers. These make a really nice light at night. So if you want to just illuminate one area, these are perfect for it. And we've got one on the right hand side, one on the left hand side here, and one in the back, all switched individually in the dash and also remote controllable. So it means you can just turn this side on. So if you are sitting on that side and you've got trees here on this side, you can use this light to illuminate the trees, and it makes really nice indirect light for the campsite. Also on top here, you've probably seen, we have got a 360 watt solar panel. This is a shingled solar panel, means it consists of 20 individual solar panels. So if you get shading on it, it doesn't drag the whole panel down, it only drags a small portion of the panel down that's exposed to the shadow on the roof. And then this is the first time I've seen this. The customer has brought these in, I think, from South Africa. Gull-wing boxes that are on the outside of the vehicle. And you have got our National Lunar Light in here that you can switch in between orange and white. And then Toby from Odyssey has put a little spice rack in here. It's only got one little spice thingy in there yet, but that is such a cool idea. I like it a lot. And obviously there's more storage area here. And then we've got the Mission 4x4 Max Trax table. So you can use this area here for cooking. There's a panel here as well. I'm not so sure about these panels because they are a bit tedious to take apart. These have been supplied, but there's only a tank filler in here, so it's not the biggest drama. The other side has got a better vent panel, to be honest. It's works a lot better because this here you'll now have to screw back together, and that takes a while as well. And most importantly, another turtle. Now this year, there's a lot going on in the back of this vehicle. There's the Mission 4x4 extra storage table here, which I think is a great idea for a chemical toilet, because you really don't want to transport a chemical toilet on the inside. Even though they are waterproof and splash proof, it's if the chemical toilet should ever explode inside your vehicle, the only sensible thing to do would probably to set it on fire and walk away. What we've got here is another water tank, gravity fed, and then a barbecue box light right here with a Weber barbecue in it. I like this. This has not been done by us, but I'd like to mention it because it looks very cool. The other utility 25 light over there. And before we get to the inside, did I mention this has got a coil conversion in it as well, and electrically adjustable shockeys that you can set on the inside. Like I said, I don't know if you can actually put more things into a Troopy. I know I've said this before, but maybe this is really it. In here, we have got an external pickup, we've got hot water out, tap water out, and we got the pump control switches here. We've got 240 volt outlets right here. Of course, there's an induction cooker in here that you can plug straight in there. Just a single hob, but if you ask me, single hob is perfectly fine. The whole interior has been done by Odyssey custom fit outs, and as per usual, the quality is just superb in it. There's a camping table in here, and there's all these little storage areas for hoses and compressor hoses. You've got the table on the rear door with extra storage area in here and a little chopping board. And you've got an upright fridge in the back. By the way, there's 3 fridges in here. Just follow me inside. Look at this interior. This is handmade especially for this build, a nice cutout bench top. I mean, the whole interior is such luxury. This could actually be on a proper yacht where a meter yacht costs $1 million. This is how nice Toby makes these interiors. And then we integrate our electrics into it. And you can see here now, it's a 360 watt solar panel, but it's so efficient. The sun is actually on the other side of the Troopy. The roof is there. And it's still doing almost 90 watt solar charging, even though it's facing away from the sun at the moment. We've had over 300 watts of solar power coming out of this before, and almost 25 amps going into the battery, just from that single solar panel. And you can still plug in an external 300 watt blanket, so you don't have to drive with this car. You can just plug in, set up the solar panels, and just stay. The batteries will recharge every day. We can also monitor the front and the rear water tanks. So this vehicle has got 2 water tanks. They're linked together, but you can monitor them individually in here. You can turn the inverter on and off from here. There's a 3 kVA Victron Multiplus inverter in here. I just like this screen because it gives such a nice overview about what's going on here. And then we've got more power outlets here. We've got USBs, we got accessory sockets here, so this is a really nice area for charging things, especially because you can use this to put some equipment in here, head torches, plug them into USB and just leave them in here. And then of course down here in this area we have got our 10 liter Duetto water heater that can be run on 12 volt but also on 240 volt. It's plugged in right here. And there's the deconstructed Egon water hub pumping system over there, which can be controlled from the rear where I showed that to you before, but it can also be controlled from the shower area, which I'm going to show you in a minute. And now this has got a special feature. Look at that. We've got a diesel heater in here. So on here you can turn on the diesel heater, which is, oh, there's another fridge. You also got a 40-liter Engel fridge freezer in here. And down here, this is still gonna get a separation panel in there. That's not in there yet. You've got your diesel heater unit right down there. So when it gets a little bit cold, the perfect thing to do in these is, see, you got the weather shields on the front windows. What you do is you leave the windows cracked a little bit in the front. That way you get cold air coming in, dropping down. It gets sucked in from the diesel heater on this side, and then the diesel heater pumps out the hot air to this side here. That way you'll have just the one section of the tent down. The hot air will rise. You crack one of these windows a little bit and you create nice fresh airflow with cold air coming in the front, hot air rising up, and you stay nice and toasty up in your tent. Perfect for cold winters in Tasmania or somewhere else around the world where this thing is definitely going to go. And then when you turn around for those hot days, you've got Sirocco fans on either side here. So if you're up in bed, you can actually have these things blasting directly at you. Or when you got this down, you can also have them blowing towards the outside. That should make it really easy to actually stay nice and, I wouldn't say cold, but at least you get a bit of an airflow through, because you can open the whole tent up very easily, which makes for nice and comfy sleep even when it's hot. And then we've got extra USB charge ports up here as well, on this side and on that side. The customers opted for these instead of the ones on the side of the dash. And then we've got a center console fridge, but I'll get to that in a minute. I'll show you all the storage areas. So you got more storage in here, storage in there. You've also got extra storage in here and underneath it. Toby does not waste space. You can say a lot of things about Toby, but he does not waste any space in his builds. Look at that, another big drawer there. And then, once I get the camera equipment out of the way, more storage in here and in here and in here. It just keeps going. Plus, if you ever don't want to set up the tent, you can pull this out and you can hook it into this side here and it turns into a bed. And you just got this area as a stealth sleeping bed. But let's get out of here again. I'll show you a little bit more on that side and then in the front and in the electric compartment. On this side, we've got another external gullwing box. I'm still not sure if I really like these or if I don't, but in general, I think this is quite a good idea. Plenty of storage space in here. This one got a backing plate, so you can use this for recovery gear. It's handy because it's on the driver's side, so I would put my recovery gear in here. It's the perfect spot for it, either here or on the roof, because I always think recovery gear on the roof is a great idea because you can always get to the roof, and just in case you cannot get to the roof anymore, it's probably not worth recovering the vehicle. Anyway, it's another turtle. And then we've got the compressor outlet in here, another tank filler, and the solar plug-in point in here as well. And when we keep going, we've got the quick pitch shower ensuite tent here. This is the original. This has been covered a million times, but this is the first one. And then Mission 4x4 gullwing. I really like Sean's design on these with the Molly panel. It's so handy because you can actually hook a little hook into this and have your shower hanging off that. But it's a little bit hard when the shower's right behind it. So we've got another National Lunar light right here, orange and white. You can turn the shower water on here, you can plug the shower in there, and you can adjust the temperature right there. So it makes it really easy. If you're going and you want to have a quick shower after the beach, all you need to do, just plug that in, have a shower right next to your car. Just make sure you leave the water heater going, and you'll have 10 liters of 70-degree hot water, which will give you easily 20 liters of shower water, which is probably a lot more than you want to use, but if you want to, you can have a very long, very comfortable shower. We've also got a 240-volt inlet here. This is if you're somewhere on a powered site or you got a generator. You can just plug in a 15 amp connector here, which connects to the Multiplus. That's got an internal transfer switch and supplies the 240-volt circuit in there with external 240, and at the same time turns into a 110 amp battery charger and charges the 400 amp hour lithium battery bank that's in here. So in here we have got a lot as well. First and foremost, fridge number 3, the center console fridge. We have actually made our own center console for this because you can't buy anything. So John has fabricated a center console for the fridge to mount to. And then in here, we've got our Alpine head unit. Then you've got a dash cam. You've also got a mirror. We haven't fitted this one. That's got a reverse camera in it. You've got another reverse camera right here on the screen as well. This is the controller for the suspension, so you can adjust the dampening of the shockeys while you drive on the go in this controller. I would love to play around with one of these setups and just find out how that behaves off-road. I've never tested that. It's very appealing to me. I think something like that would be great. What we've got here is we can turn the 12-volt water heater on from here. We can also link the batteries under the bonnet from here in case you would use this button in case you want to winch or in case you want to link the batteries to jumpstart yourself if the main battery has gone flat, or you can also use it when your alternator fails out bush somewhere and you have a fair bit to drive. You can link both batteries together and drive off both batteries. That's why we call it the Get Home Safe button. The SBI 12, the smart solenoid, automatically links the batteries together. So every time the engine runs, both batteries get charged, and when the voltage drops, they get separated again and nothing draws off the Get Home Safe battery. Then we've got our air compressor control here. We've got a Selfie Go system in here that can be switched on and off from here. All of this is running off the secondary battery, obviously. We can plug in our GME XRS 370 UHF radio. In here we've also got a scan gauge. These are being supplied by a company here in Perth called Perth Diesel Performance, and you can read values from your engine control unit. So you can scroll through, you can see faults that come up in your ECU. You can see all values like boost pressure, oil temperature, engine temperature, the lot. You can play with that thing for quite some time and always find more and more features. We also got the Redarc Tow Pro brake controller in here that you can see here, and then switches for the light bar and the driving lights, which when the switch is on and high beam turns on, the bar light and the driving lights turn on as well. But let me show you where all the real goodies are hidden. As per usual, behind here we've got our Egon DC hub. And then there's a lot going on behind here. So we have got our two Redarc DC-DC chargers, a 40 amp and a 25 amp Cerbo GX over there. Then we've got a quad MIDI fuse holder that is for 2 fuses and 2 battery positive cables for the Multiplus. Then we have got another power supply for the DC hub. And then we've got one more power supply going directly to the DC-DC chargers, to the dual DC-DC chargers over here. And then we've got our Victron Smartshunt in there, and of course 200 amp hour Amptron lithium batteries. We put the junction box over here to interface with all the cables. And then over here we have got the shore power input RCD and the RCD for the GPOs to make sure we're electrically compliant and the installation is safe. And then behind the passenger seat here, we've got the Victron 3 kVA Multiplus inverter charger that I talked about before. It's still on. I have to make sure I turn that back off. Fridge is still running, but you know what? Even with all of this, the solar panel is still charging the batteries. So this vehicle has got a JMax coil conversion in it, and you can see these are the shock absorbers that I talked about, and this is where you can electronically adjust them. So this is a serious shocky setup. I have not seen those ones before. I'll show you a little bit more underneath. This is the water tank in the front, and then we've got another water tank towards the back. This is all the stuff from the coil conversion, and you see the rear shockies. They are massive shock absorbers as well. Also electronically adjustable. These are the remote reservoirs with the electronic adjustment for the shock absorber. And then over here we've got the outlet for the diesel heater, the inlet for the diesel heater, and the diesel heater comes through the floor right over there. We've made a special bracket for that to make sure we can fit them in there and still get it fitted with all the other equipment. So it's like a little spacer that spaces the diesel heater up a little bit, but makes sure that no gases can go back into the interior, because we don't like our customers dying of carbon monoxide poisoning. It's not good for return business. Like I said, this was a lot, and I'm pretty sure I've missed something. There is so much going on in this thing. I'm really happy it's turned out the way it is. I hope the customers will enjoy their first trip with it. They're going to Tasmania straight away, which is a great time of the year to do that. So from my side, there's only one thing left to do, and that is to give this our patch of approval. This one is now officially ready to drive anywhere. Thanks, and see you for the next one.